keep going.
I'm sorry.
No, it's perfect. So
Uh,
you just had a recent anniversary with University of Richmond, is that correct?
that's correct. Now 13 years I've been teaching there.
Awesome. Awesome.
So,
Hi, everybody. We are here with the wonderful Lisa Hazelgrove, and we are doing, continuing our holistic practitioner series, where we go into the differences in the many of the holistic modalities. We're not all just one area, right? We have so many different separate things, but also the differences in how each of us are positioning ourselves and getting to where we are in our businesses. So thank you, Lisa, for being with us today and sharing.
well, thank you for having me, Laura. Yeah, it's exciting. People kind of wonder, why I get so excited about wellness, and it is because when you feel well, as you know, life is good. So it's
Absolutely.
all about creating that environment so that we can help ourselves heal.
Awesome. So why don't you go ahead and tell a little bit about your chosen modalities or certifications, what it is that you do.
Well, I am a wellness educator, lifestyle coach, teacher, energy practitioner. I like to say that I'm a spiritual being manifesting in human form, having an earthly experience.
Awesome. And which of those many roles do you feel like happens the most, or do you see yourself in fulfilling the most lately?
Well, again, we were kind of just, talking about this before we got started, that, someone said, oh, I thought you did such and such. And now I see that, you're a teacher. And I said, well, wellness educator is my, I guess, unified title. And I help people understand what wellness is, that it's not just about sickness and disease, but that it is creating an environment for the body to heal naturally. So
Beautiful.
yeah, it's kind of like saying, to a mother, are you just a mother? Or a teacher, are you just a teacher? It really is the unification of all of these parts of me, and then bringing that to the table so that I can help people understand spirit, mind, body.
Awesome. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about this anniversary and what it is that your position is at University of Richmond?
I am a wellness instructor with the University of Richmond, and it began 13 years ago this month, that I met with the manager of my department at that time. She's since, moved into another role. But, she said, she was talking to me and asked me what I was doing. And I told her I was on this journey of really defining how to create wellness in not only my life, but in my family's life, because traditional medicine had really not helped us to target the underlying cause of what was going on. I say we, myself and my son, that we experienced, and they weren't really helping us to get better. So I went on a journey, and I just said, okay, there's a lot of modalities and wonderful technologies in this world today. So I'm going to go and seek out what I can find to help create that balance in our lives. And so wellness really took on a whole new meaning for me, because it took me outside of traditional Western medicine. Again, which I had really failed myself and my son. So my first introduction into wellness was energy medicine. And I was so excited. I was like this kid in the candy shop, and I just wanted to understand all of it. That's where the teacher really came into play, and learning as a student so that I could go out and be the teacher that I was meant to be.
And so as what were you already familiar with energy medicine before you procured energy medicine for your own health?
Uh, Before I started as a teacher at University of Richmond, I was introduced to energy medicine, gosh, almost 20 years ago. And it first started with magnets. And I did not understand, you know, I would say like most of, the population, that we're more than just fleshy, bony um, human beings, that there's a spirit and a mind that's also, integrated with this body. So when I felt that energy, it it woke me up, and I just was just overwhelmed with how that feeling. I had had a lot of anxiety. Kind of backtrack a little bit. I started on this journey because both my son and I were extremely depressed,
Mm.
and we were not getting the answers we needed. And I did my own, process of elimination, and I found out that we weren't sleeping.
Mm.
And it then it dawned on me, well, if what if all these other imbalances that we were experiencing, allergies, he had asthma, ADD, what this anxiety, what if all this traced back to sleep deprivation? And when I felt that energy and I started utilizing magnets, it was almost like the waves, in a storm in the ocean, they're so turbulent. Because all of a sudden it was like there was a calm.
Mm.
And I went, I want this. I had found peace and I wanted more of it. Yeah, I had not before, maybe almost 20 years ago, never experienced energy medicine.
I love that. You painted such a beautiful picture just now. I could really see how it played out for you, with like this simple question of like, well, is it possible that all of this is, and caused by this? So seeing the correlation, but then also just making a decisive, swift action towards working on that correlation. And did you find there were other correlations, or did you think, or did the sleep deprivation really, did helping nourish and solve the sleep deprivation cause a lot of ease in the situation?
It did, because if we understand that it's the foundation of everything we do, and if we're not getting into a parasympathetic state, our central nervous system's not calming down, then we're not resting and repairing and digesting. And that's what the parasympathetic's all about. And we secrete different hormones, in this parasympathetic state. If I'm in fight or flight all the time, then I can't sleep. I'm not metabolizing my food. And, so everything else again, is thrown off balance. So, I mean, and I was a nurse, that I heard this from years ago. She said, sleep is the summation of our day. What did you do today to get good sleep tonight? And that's when it hit me. Sleep is the most important foundational piece that we have to our health and wellness.
Well, it sounds like you're a sleep coach then too.
Well, I am. It's what it is that the class is really called Sleep and College. But if we understand sleep and it being the foundation for everything else we do, I am also a nutritional coach, an environmental coach, an energy coach, an emotional coach. Um, so there's so many branches to this tree and so many roots to this tree. That was the whole point, was not branching off the tree, but going back down into the earth, down to the roots of where I began, and understanding who am I and why am I here, and what is my purpose. So yes, it started out as sleep, but then it branched off into other areas and other categories because everything we do affects our sleep, and our sleep affects everything we do. So it's very cyclical.
Yes, I'm just thinking that there's a lot of people who need better sleep. And so you'd be the perfect person to really help them since you had gone through that yourself. Now let's go back a little bit to before you started turning to energy medicine and other forms of holistic alternative therapeutics for you and your son.
Mhm.
What was your job? What were you doing? What was life like?
Well, life was an emotional roller coaster back then. I was a mother, and I had chosen to stay home. I had gone to college, and my degree was in as a BFA in the arts. So it that kind of really was put on the shelf, because my family came first. So I was a stay-at-home mom at one point, which I'm so glad I decided to do that because I was not prepared, just like a lot of us were not prepared for the pandemic. I was not prepared for the storm that was about to come into my life. And that was to help my son. At one point, he try not to cry. He said he wasn't sure he wanted to live anymore. So I'm thinking, okay, what do I do now? Because I myself was not in a very good place, and I was also depressed. And that's when I kind of started putting the pieces together. And it's fortuitous that I had time to research all of this and to understand um, this body, this spirit, and this mind, and why it was in such turmoil and trauma. And what could I do to provide the necessary tools to have that, um, harmony in life, and to just be, I say that child again, really, really connect to the child again, and just be so excited about life and each day. So it really kind of threw me into a tailspin because I had to really collect myself so that I could help him. So all of this started, back then when it was a need, it was an urgency, it was trauma that kind of threw me into, all right, what are you going to do now? And what are your resources? What systems do I have in place so that when we do uh, are faced with a fight or flight situation, that we can be in a calm state, that we can actually handle this. So
How is he doing now?
oh, he's doing wonderful. He loves life, and he's very grateful for the tools and for the training that he received as a young man. On, he knows what to do now when something just arises, just like this. Again, we've been in this storm, this and I won't say perfect because it hasn't been, but it's been such a storm these last 2 years that had I not had these tools in place, I may still be in that fight or flight. But I'm in kind of an inner peace and harmony because I understand what I need to do to create this inner sanctum, that this healing. And I've been taught how to deal with these um, situations that are coming up, that we're all experiencing right now.
Well, University of Richmond is just obviously so lucky to have you. I mean, it's obvious that you are so able to help. Is it you're teaching the younger college group, or are you teaching continuing education?
I actually am teaching the undergrads, but I'm very excited. I recently was asked to write a educational piece on wellness. which would be for anybody continuing outside the university, and it would be international. So I was very excited to the honor to really explain wellness, which, if someone had asked me what wellness was, 20 years ago, I would have said it's going to the doctor and getting my checkups. And now I understand it's so much more than that, through my own education.
Well, I see two different really clear paths for you, and like in branding. I'm so glad I had this opportunity to really connect and hear more about what it is that you do. But the like a tree, a path where you could be talking to moms to help themselves and their families, but also to the kids themselves directly, to the
Yeah,
college age kid and the youth, and what they're going through right now. And so I can see such clear, and then you're the trustworthy mom, reliable figure,
yeah.
teacher. So it's a really clear picture in my head about how you could be messaging and talking to others about this work. So it's really nice and really great to hear how clear it is. Um, yeah. So thank you so much for being here and for taking the time today.
Well, thank you for having me, and I hope to continue this road of teaching and helping people to understand energy. Really is my baseline mission, because I think that's something that has been left out of Western medicine. So
Oh, I agree completely. So that's great. It's great to know that you're able to articulate that from your own experience, but also from your work experience. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us today?
well, yeah, one of the branches I really didn't get into was I'm also an energy practitioner. And I've been doing something called the emotion code since 2013. I became certified in that. So where I utilize kinesiology or muscle testing to like communicate with our energy body. I translate that vibration into a language so people can understand and interpret those messages from our inner universe, um, really like defragging and connecting energy patterns, translating that energy so we can understand the conscious and the subconscious mind, and really bridging those two together to streamline the healing process. And since the pandemic, I have been studying pranic healing as well.
Do those techniques integrate into your teaching at all?
They actually do, because if you understand wellness, it is not, again, just about really being sick, and you know uh, taking the traditional road to getting better. I bring energy into the classroom. I actually do integrative talk about integrative techniques, and how we can expand our minds, and if we understand what energy is. So really it's all about an energy 101, because most people, like I said, do not understand energy and how that is applicable to our health and well-being. So yeah, I do bring this into the classroom, and they love my class.
Yeah, I'm so curious about it. Like, how do you hold a modern type of like lecture style space, or do you integrate other more creative tools into it, such as meditation or breathing?
Yes, as a matter of fact, in our third class, and I'm still online, by the way, I'm still not in the university, I'm still teaching from home.
Mm.
But in our third class, we actually did a meditation, and I helped them to, and it was not just meditation, but it was emotional intelligence as well, and helping them to understand, because I do a lot of work where I ask them questions and they have to send in homework about where their emotional state is, because when they're filling out their journal, their lifestyle journal, it covers emotions. What were your emotions today? What did you eat today? How did you sleep last night? Did you exercise today? Did you get outside today? So if we understand wellness, that it's more than just sleep, that it's our environment, it's energy, it's emotions, it's nutrition. Um, I ask them these questions and then I get feedback from them on where they are. The state of where our students are is pretty scary right now, as well as a lot of people in just in the world period, with the pandemic, because what it has done is it any emotions that we had before this have escalated, and they're in what I call survival mode.
Mm.
So we have to do somewhat of a blueprint, to find out where people are. I meet people where they are. So I find out emotionally where they are so we can look at that energy and we can use things, modalities like meditation, even magnets, um, emotion code, energy, medicine to help defrag our bodies, to clean them out, basically take out the garbage so that we can bring in new energy that is clean and renewable.
Yeah,
So
must take a lot of work and a lot of healing on your part too, to ensure that you're able to continue this cycle with people, but also replenish your own well.
yeah.
Um, so do you find any challenges with that right now, or any other challenges that you're
Uh,
seeing?
well, most of the challenges, I'm just so grateful each and every day that I have my spiritual practice and that my life is in harmony. So I'm really not seeing anything that is coming into my particular space that is I'm not able to handle right now. So I'm really grateful for that, and I believe that that is so that I can be the teacher, the practitioner, the mom, the grandmom, that I need to be right now for other people. So I'm the bridge right now, and the bridge is pretty clear of traffic, so that I can help other people on their road to well-being.
That's great. And then, what else do you have planned for your business? I know you have your class, which keeps you busy, and
Yeah.
the healing that's part of that, and making sure that everyone is like balanced in that education. But then you also have your children, your grandchildren, and your upcoming educational article. But are there any other more strategic business goals that you have set for yourself going into 2022?
Well, I have, and you and I talked a little bit about this. I had actually applied for a fellowship. I want to take what I teach at University of Richmond, and I want to have different levels of wellness so that I can teach this to younger generations. Because when I'm talking to my students at U of R, I'm finding out that their sleep patterns and these emotional patterns started back in grade school. Matter of fact, one of the papers that one of my students wrote just shook me to my core in 2019. And she said, I'm not allowed to sleep.
Mm.
Um, and that really tugged at my heart. And that made me want to understand more about why this young woman who's in college and seemingly doing very successful and getting good grades, why she feels that she's not allowed to sleep so that she can be successful. So that was one of the reasons that I had applied for the fellowship, is I want to take this course online and offer it to other schools. I'm hoping that we get to a point that I can go back and do this in person
Mm.
and integrate this into a much younger audience, because the students I'm that I'm teaching right now, this didn't start in college.
Mm.
This all started a long time ago, and they were never taught how to handle their emotions, or or they were never given the tools, I should say, to understand how to create wellness. And
Well,
that's what I'm going to do.
I love this intention for energetic intervention, energetic literacy at an early age. I have a really great resource that I'm going to send to you. A
Okay.
really a really good partnership connection that I think that would be great for you. So I'm really excited to do that. Now that I know a little bit more and hear your intention and your plan, it's just so great. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, and for showing up in this space, such an authentic message today.
Well, thank you again for having me, and it's a pleasure.
Thanks, everybody.